R.I.P. to the homie, Ralphie May. Uh, Ralphie May, I worked with him one time, Brownsville, Texas. It was a fucking awesome time. Uh, but he died, I can't, in the last 6, 7 years. If you don't know who Ralphie May is, very funny brother, overweight. He was probably, he had to be considered morbidly obese. And he was huge. But very, got the baby face, very funny, raunchy comic. Loved him, funny as fuck. But before I tell you this story, I have to give you some context. So this one is called, That One Time I Smoked Weed with Ralphie May and told him his wife was a bitch. True story. Yeah, let me get on there. That one time I smoked weed with Ralphie May and told him his wife was a bitch. So, before I did this gig with Ralphie, this was the year I got 3 kids, wife, working on a television show in Arizona. I'm in a hip hop group, and we're on tour. I'm on a comedy tour mixed with a rap tour across the country. Small little tour, but a tour nonetheless. So it's me and 2 of my bandmates traveling. We hit the road separate because I had to be somewhere in there. They couldn't leave until a day later. So I had already left. I'm on the road. I'm driving the rental car. The gig I gotta go to first is in New Mexico. It is a gig north of Albuquerque, where the main gig was, where we were gonna end up 3 weeks later or something like that, at Laughs Comedy Club. This is like a gig that the booker at Laughs, if he book you, then he gives you these other gigs around it. So this gig was at a casino. By the time I get to the casino gig, my bandmates meet me there at this gig. So as soon as I get into the casino, the other 2 comics are in the bar area already. That's where the show is going to happen, which sucks because it's in a bar area, literally in a bar area. The bar is, as soon as you go in to the right side, it's loud, and then you got a stage at the end of the room and the open area of the casino to deal with. So those are always fun gigs, but it make you work for that pay. So as soon as I walk in, and this was the age of Last Comic Standing, which I got a story about that shit too. But this is the age of Last Comic Standing, and Ralphie May was on that show currently. Maybe he won already. It was the finals. Maybe we was doing this gig, the final, where he won or some shit. I can't remember. Anyway, I walk in there. There's this girl sitting down, and for some reason I just assumed that she was probably one of the comics because I didn't know either one of the comics. So as soon as I see her, she sees me and she kind of waves. She's like, "Are you the MC?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Amaru. I introduced myself." She said, "That's my boyfriend on the TV, Ralphie May." And when she did that, told me, it explained her whole character to me immediately. That she was one of them. You know what I'm saying? She was one of them clout chasing motherfuckers. Turned me off immediately. So you introduce yourself to me as one of the comics. You didn't give me your name after I gave you my name. I said, "Hi, my name is Amaru." You turned to the TV and said, "Hey, that's my boyfriend right there." Because she had Last Comic Standing on the television watching it at the bar. So I was like, oh, she wasn't that motherfucker. So I knew to keep my distance, right? So we do the show. Nothing spectacular. You know, we go back to the room. I make some music with my bandmates, blah, 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 blah. And so that gig is over. The next gig, so at this gig, you stay at a condo. The MC stays in the dining area on the couch, and the headliner and feature get a room. Each get a room in the condo. I had already asked the comics. I was like, yo, I'm also on tour with my rap group, and they with me, and I just want to know, because I stayed here before, you know, if they could just crash in the living room with me. You know what I'm saying? We'll clean up after ourselves. It'll be no problem. You blah, 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 blah. And they was like, cool. Both of them said it. The headliner and the feature. The headliner was Ron Moray. So they said, cool. So I wanted to do that before I went and talked to the booker, because I knew he was going, well, I don't know, because they, you know, I already talked to him. So I talked to the booker. He was like, well, okay, well, if they're, you know, cool with it, then I'm cool with it. I was like, cool, yeah, they said they was good with it, blah, 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 blah. Cool. So, you know, we got manners. We already know what it is, you know. We stay, you know, keep the motherfucker clean. Don't walk in on the, you know what I'm saying? Because we had to use her bathroom. You had to, the MC, you know, we had to use her bathroom, not the headliner's bathroom. So the first issue we ran into, which caused us to take all of our shit and go stay in a hotel for the rest of the week. The first night, this motherfucker accuses me of using her soap. All the things that accuse me of, knowing that, you know, let's put some context around this. We in New Mexico. You a white woman. I'm a big black man. There's another guy staying here too. He's an older guy, but he's white. Again, I'm a black man. You're a white woman. We in New Mexico. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not going too many places without witness. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know what it is. So she blames me for using her fucking soap. Like, you couldn't tell if it was me that used it or not. You know what I'm saying? My hair is, I know you got black hair, but you ain't got black hair. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, I was so motherfucking mad. So I was like, you know what? We out of here. So we stayed at the hotel. My mistake was I had forgotten, and just my luck, I had forgotten that Laughs changed their hours. They have summer hours and they have winter hours. And they had the reminder in a picture frame that was on the wall in the condo. In my haste, I'm storming out of there, packing our shit, going to the hotel, mad. I forget about the times, and it happened to be that week. Not only did we move up out of the condo and go to a hotel, I was late for the gig that night. An hour late. This is the infamous night where I got hired and fired. I got fired and hired back in the same hour. I get to the gig, I'm already knowing, oh man, I'm so apologetic. I'm so sorry, because I'm never late. I'm always on time. I'm never late. That's just not me. And so I'm mad at myself more than anything. So Russ has already notified me that he done replaced me. He got another MC. I can, you know, pack my shit and how dare that I do that and blah, blah, blah. And he just rubbing it in unnecessarily. So I'm telling this motherfucker, hey man, I understand I did wrong, my bad. And I explained to him how it happened and why it happened. She accused me of she lied on me. And I can't have that. And so instead of bringing the attitude, that's what I told him. Instead of bringing the attitude or having an attitude because I can't get along with the other comic, instead of bringing that to work and affecting my job, I took it upon myself to take us out of the situation. Yeah, they said it was cool that we stayed there, But now I got a problem with her. So I removed us from that situation. We went to a, it was my fault that I forgot to look at the thing. And yeah, I eat that. That's all on me. But you ain't got to be all extra about the shit. It was a fucking mistake. And blah, 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 blah. You act like somebody can't make a damn mistake. And then he started going in on, 9 issues, this, that, and third. And I was like, one thing, I don't like how you talking to me. You yelling at me like I want it. Because Russ was known for disrespecting and yelling and firing treating his staff like shit. And I had heard about that shit. And I had seen a little instance of how he was talking praise to one of them. And I'm like, I'm not the one. He don't talk to me like that. And this day came about and he started talking to me like that. I was like, find out. And so it's infamous, man. So he fired me. We going from office to office and the kitchen is in between this shit. We going from office and another thing. My name is Amaru, not Amaru. I don't call you Russ Rivieras. Man, I was going off on that motherfucker, man. And then so we ended up back in his office. And so you could tell that he was listening to what I was saying and it was making sense. You know what I'm saying? He who would subject themselves to that if this happened, and to be responsible so you don't bring, because you can be affected by attitude, your performance can be affected. So if I had a bad attitude during the show, I set the tone. I'm the MC. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't want that, so I removed myself and my bandmates from that situation and mistakenly didn't take heed to the sign, and he understood that. He started, you could tell it, because his whole demeanor started to change. He was like, you know what? All right, you could continue out the week, blah, blah, blah. And like his whole shit changed up. Like it was like he had just fired me and we had just had this argument. One of the people who's now a great comic, he came out later on. He was like, yo, he's like, I done been fired. I'd have been fired and hired back like 8 times already. He was like, when you guys were arguing, we was back there like, yeah. Yeah. Because I was cursing his ass out too, man. You motherfucker, I'm not one of your motherfucking employees. I'm an independent contractor who does his job well. I made a mistake. If you want to fire me, then fire me. But don't be coming at me with bullshit like I did the shit on purpose out of malice. This was the situation, and I thought professionally I handled it well. So we finished out the week, and the shows were banging. She did her thing, whatever. And so time goes by, right? Time goes by. I get a gig with Ralphie May. Time goes by, and these two end up getting married. I find out they get married. They got married. I'm like, I had my thoughts about, her being with him and her reasons why she was with him because of my experience in meeting her and how that comes off. It came off like she was a gold digger. Point blank. End of discussion. And Ralphie portrayed and seemed to be a real motherfucker when I met him. And I'm sure that he knew that, and I can't say that he probably really loved her. Maybe she really loved him. I don't know. I'm just telling you what I experienced. It didn't seem that way. It seemed like she had other motives and alternatives, and that's how it came off, and that's how she came off. So I never liked her. I don't like her to this day. She know what the fuck she did. So I get a gig with Ralphie. I'm excited, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, damn, I wonder if he know about this shit. But I'm like, fuck it, we about to, the shows was packed. All of them was sold out. It was off the chain. We killed it. We killed it on stage. We killed it financially. He was cool as fuck. I remember the other comic was like, timid, was like, hey man, you mind if we sell merchandise? I know. I was gonna sell my shit anyway. Nigga, I'm because they accidentally double booked 2 features. So he ended up having 2 features. We ended up, this other dude being this other dude. I'm like, I'm gonna sell shit. Well, we're gonna ask that nigga. Shit. It's hard out in these streets. You know what I'm saying? And Ralphie said it. He was like, man, sell what the fuck you want? He was like, man, I'm getting over on these motherfuckers. That's what he said. He was like, I'm getting over on these motherfuckers. make your money. He was like, we gonna all make some money. And man, we sold damn near all our shit. Man, that shit was dope. He took us to the strip club afterwards. He paid for everything, all that shit. That shit was fun as fuck. So after the strip club, I want to say the other dude's name was like Danny or some shit out of Texas. So Danny goes back. I want to say we was in a limo too. Danny went back to his hotel room, and me and Ralphie decided to hang out. So I go to his room to smoke a blunt. So now, I'm already a little high, a little tipsy, and now I'm getting the whole feeling guilty shit starting to kick in about, because I hate feeling fake around a motherfucker. I can't do it, man. And so I'm sitting here smoking this nigga's blunt and wondering at the same time, does this motherfucker, is he setting me up? You know what I'm saying? At one point, I'm like, these motherfuckers setting me up. He remembered that shit and knew I was coming. Is he setting me up? What's really going on? You know what I'm saying? But I was feeling funny, man. I couldn't let it go on anymore. So, and the blunt was fresh. It was rolled in backwoods. I hit that bitch once again, and it was still 3/4 still there. And I'm like, yo, man, you might want to take this back because I got some shit to tell you. I feel funny, not knowing if you know about it or remember it or not. He was like, you could look on his face was look of worried, like, this motherfucker about to tell me. So I gave him the blunt back. I sat back in the chair and was like, yo, man. So a while back, I worked with your OG, man. And I said, your wife's a bitch. He was like, yeah, man, I'm keeping 1,000 with you. Your wife is a bitch, and here's what happened. So I told him what happened, what I just explained to y'all. And he was like, He's like, yeah, I remember that shit. She called me when it happened. And he was like, fuck the bitch. She could have left and handed me the blunt back. He was like, yeah, she called me. I told her, yeah, well, I don't know about all that, but you can go to a hotel, blah, blah, blah. And she chose not to. She said she didn't want to. So I was like, then you got to deal with what you got to deal with. And motherfucker passed me the blunt back. He was like, I remember he was like, fuck the bitch. He gave me the blunt. Oh my God. That was the best keeping it real session I ever had, man. Cause I was like, it was a weight lifted off of me. Cause the whole time I was with him, even before we went to the strip club, before we even hit the stage, I had this sense of guilt in the back of my head, or a sense of wondering, a sense of the unknown. Does this nigga know or remember about this incident between me and his wife? At the time, it was his girlfriend. I couldn't let the shit go on without finalizing and finding out, or confirming what I wanted to know. Hey, do you know that I said this about your wife? And what the fuck happened? And do you understand why she with you? Because this is what she said to me. And I think you're a cool dude, and I don't want you, I don't want her to get, I don't want her to get taken advantage of and shit. But I don't know what their relationship was like. So who am I to tell him how to fucking, who to be in love with? So, now I'll probably get canceled for telling that story. For keeping it real. That story don't hurt nobody. It's a real situation that happened. I told it, the only thing is he ain't here to refute or dispute it. But it happened. I ain't got no reason to lie. His wife know what our story was, the introduction. The argument with Russ can be verified and validated. Because it was going, a couple people heard about the shit. It was like, yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, so, I ain't got a lie to kick it. He was cool, like I said, cool as fuck about the incident. It was like, I'm telling you, he was like, fuck the bitch. It had to be the blunt back. I was cracking up, man. It was startling. And I was like, I like this motherfucker, man. I like this motherfucker, man. This motherfucker he was 100, man. He was 100. Like when my man asked him, could we sell merchandise? He was like, man, I'm getting over on these motherfuckers, man. Like he was one of them teaching moments in in regards to like game in the business. You know, he was one of the motherfuckers that would tell you some shit. Cause he told me some shit about Last Comic Standing that I already knew or had suspicions about, and why I didn't want to. I got a story about it because Last Comic Standing is a sore spot for me. But you'll hear it in the story later on. But anyway, yeah, man, that's my Ralphie May story, man. Again, rest in peace to the brother. And it was a dope show, and I recorded it, and I rode the Greyhound bus there. And when I got back home to Phoenix, someone stole my fucking footage, stole the camera. They stole the camera. They stole that camera. That camera belonged to Jason Lamb, Pepper Lamb. I was so, man, I owe that nigga a camera. I bet he probably still salty over that shit. That nigga ain't never replaced my camera. I was mad too. I was young, man, and doing reckless shit. Feeling myself. Being young in show business. And even talking to Ralphie about that subject, technically was reckless. I don't know how he was gonna handle that shit, but that's just the way I keep it 100. That's just the way I speak. And, you either respect it or you ain't. We didn't, we didn't have to be friends after that. But I wasn't gonna sit there and smoke on your shit and then have it, harbor this ill will towards not him, but someone that he loves, and sit here smiling in his face. I can't do that. And so, my reward for not being fake was the relief he gave me when I told him. And then his response. That was my reward for being real and true and have some integrity. That he was cool. I could tell this story. He was cool, and he handed me the blunt back. That's what killed me. He was like, fuck the bitch. They handed that shit back, nigga. That shit, that was one of them days, man, that you enjoy doing what you're doing, in this business, man. So, that didn't take that long. I thought it was gonna be longer than that. So I can go ahead, play another joint. My sinus is whooping my ass, man. Let's go ahead and play my weed song, because I'm about to fall up. It's Trojan Horse. Let me tell you something.
You can tell them haters that I'm coming. It might be too late for y'all to run. Cash flow champagne, cause I'm in the game now. Whatever it is. You can tell them haters that I'm coming. It might be too late for y'all to run. Cash flow champagne, cause I'm in the game now. Whatever it is.
I gotta slide on in. This shit like double dutch. This like my third, fourth pen. I got arthritis. But spite this, I'ma add this Midas, touching on these subjects. Even though they smite us, fight us is unknowingly how they unite us. Knowing that we bleed, we bite, trust, we fight, bust, cuss. Love we must unlock our potential, elevate your mental. Why so judgmental? If If we switch places, you go mental. Not knowing your history and its full potential. Knowing all along you were instrumental. We been knew what we lent you, and it's sinful. This the shit I be thinking, are we high, yo?
You can tell them haters that I'm coming. It might be too late for y'all to run. Cash flow, champagne, cause I'm in the game now. Whatever it is, whatever it is.
Now mellow down, let me dig back in. I'ma keep it real, like Chucky to the end. Gon' hit this gelato or this OG pen. I got this Josie Wells, they had the 2 for 10. Didn't know this is a weed song, had to draw you in. I won't judge you, but please splash the butt, you stuck again. I'm still at it, so I'm gon' represent it. Pay attention to me, cause these lessons lived it.
You can tell them haters that I'm coming. It might be too late for y'all to run. Cash flow, champagne, cause I'm in the game now. Whatever it is, whatever it is.
Let me tell you something.
You can tell them haters that I'm coming. It might be too late for y'all to run. Cash flow, champagne, cause I'm in the game now. Whatever it is, whatever it is.
Let me tell you something.
You can tell them haters that I'm coming. It might be too late for y'all to run. Cash flow, champagne, cause I'm in the game now. Whatever it is.
Yeah.